Calvin Morris, and I'm here today to talk to you about Doctor Who Pyramid at the End of the World. The middle episode in Doctor Who was a series 10 episode 7. So it's a bridge of an episode. It's just essentially, its purpose is to bridge the gap between last week's episode and next week's episode. I thought he'd done a good job. I thought, so again, you know, we 7 episodes in a row now that it hasn't disappointed. There wasn't really its own story in this episode, but there was a lot of information going on. There was a lot of back and forth. We still didn't find out that much about the monks, which was kind of disappointing. I was hoping to get something, but I'm assuming that they're saving that payoff for next week. So yeah, where to begin with this episode? Well, I'm going to start by saying the opening tease, I thought, first of all, it was a little confusing, but then when I got the idea of what was going on, I quite liked it. I've never seen it done before. I don't think I've ever seen that way of presenting previously on and mixing it with the current episode as a storytelling tool. But I quite liked it. I thought that worked very well, particularly when Bill was out on the date and she was telling about the Pope and things like that, and they're in a sort of similar sort of situation. It's a little bit different because they're a little more at ease with each other than they were in the simulation. So that was a little bit different, but you just knew something was going to go wrong. And of course, when the UN burst in, it's like, okay, alright, yeah, I'll give a cheeky grin to that. I knew it was coming. It was obvious. I knew something was going to go wrong. I just didn't know what. But yeah, and I thought this episode done a good job of bringing in big characters as well. So you've got sort of, I think it was the Secretary General of the UN, and you had the sort of a senior official of the US, Chinese, and Russian military. So yeah, I you know, it done a real good job of bringing in sort of more world powers instead of it being sort of Britain centric. It was inclusive of the world, and it's good when Doctor Who does that, because Doctor Who, you know, we've had previous episodes before whereby it's pretty much just, you know, it's either centered around London or it's a UK thing or it's a localized event, but this says, you know, the world. And I thought he'd done an amazing job on the locations as well. I thought the location shooting in this looked really good, and there was some real beautiful camera work showing you know, these big, wide, broad, sort of aerial shots, and I thought it looked really good. I like the mention of the doomsday clock in this episode as well. I thought that was a nice touch, just to drop in a little factoid here or there in the episode. And I also liked the Doctor's line, "This isn't my first dead planet," which of course is another nod to the first Doctor, because obviously the dead planet was the Doctor's first encounter with the Daleks. So that was kind of nice. The overall story to the episode, I felt, was a bit like the movie Outbreak. I think, you know, because that's sort of the subplot of this episode, was this sort of virus, this bacteria that's going to get free and kill everything. Yeah, I thought he'd done a good job of that, mainly because normally when you get an invasion story, it's an invasion story whereby they're so powerful they're just going to swoop in and take over and the Doctor's going to stop them. But in this case, by them being there to witness it and saying, you know, I can step in, but you have to ask us to invade, you know, sort of take over. And the whole thing with the consent, I thought that was handled really well. A little bit confusing, obviously, because you didn't fully understand what was going on until they explained it to Bill. But yeah, I thought it was a good way to handle an invasion story. You know, it was to sort of a lot of this episode was a flipped premise. You know, they instead of having them invade, we asked them to come in So yeah, there was a lot of that stuff going on. It kind of reminded me of the storyline from I want to say Sound of Drums. Um, but again, a flip premise to that. So yeah, I thought it as a bridging story between, you know, the center story between two episodes. It kind of played out. I thought the way I thought it was going to play out, where everything falls apart and, you know, you're in an impossible situation. So no real surprises there. I think what you take from the episode is that the Doctor always lies, and he's been lying about his blindness to Bill, and in this episode it kind of backfires and bites him in the ass. You know, it's one of those, you shouldn't tell lies, especially if you're a Time Lord and you're blind, because you can have world destroying implications. So yeah, I mean, it was a tense storytelling arc. I did feel like there was a lot of tension going on, particularly you know, when they were getting the military together and all that. There was fun happening, but it didn't take away the tension out of the drama that was happening as well. So I liked all that. Again, I just wish they'd given us a little bit more out of the monks. But aside from that, it's all pretty good. I thought it looked amazing. I thought it looked big. It scaled up the adventure. I wasn't so sold on the sets for the inside of the pyramid. I wish they'd have gone a bit more grandiose with it. It was very basic. It was very sort of yeah. It just didn't sort of. I wasn't thrilled by it. It was okay. There's nothing wrong with it, but I just wish they'd have made it a little bit more epic scale, given the size of everything else that was happening in the episode. I just felt that they could have just, the set decoration could have just broadened it out a little bit, just give them a little bit more room, bit more style to it. It was one of those sets that you can believe came out of the classic series of Doctor Who. But it still worked. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just being nitpicky. So yeah, I thought that it done it well. It leading us straight up to the next episode. I don't think Erica is going to survive this. You know, it'd be nice if she did, but I don't think that's gonna happen. The Doctor as well, getting his sight restored. Obviously they're using other tech, you know, this really sort of super advanced tech, but that does lead me to the conclusion that these guys could have invaded with that sort of technology, and it wouldn't have been much of a problem, given that, you know, they couldn't bomb the pyramid or nuke it, or, you know, launch from a submarine or anything like that. So there's a lot of serious tech going on there. But maybe there is an explanation. We'll find out next week. But as it is, I thought that it was a good overrunning story arc. I like the fact that it came down to Bill's decision to ask for consent. That it wasn't left to the leaders. That it was her. They said, you know, it was hers. Her opinion is the one that really counts, because she's the closest to the Doctor, and she now speaks for the planet. It is a bit Martha Jones in storytelling. Again, that's what makes me feel like it's just like the Sound of Drums happening again. But again, I didn't have a problem with it. I thought you know, as a filler episode. There wasn't a lot of filling going on. It did a pretty bang up job. Anyway, that's what I thought of Pyramid at the End of the World. Let me know what you felt about this episode. Do you think that there was enough in it? Do you think that they should have put more in it? Do you wish they'd explain more about the monks? Are they keeping you hanging on? Did you enjoy it? Anyway, that's it from me, and I'll see you later, guys.